Hello, and welcome to Coaching Corner with me, Tracy Forsyth. And today I want to look at that old saying, 2 ears, 1 mouth. So I'm not sure if you were ever told that when you were a kid, that, you had 2 ears and 1 mouth, which meant that you ought to be quiet. I think it probably hailed from that Victorian ethos of children should be seen and not heard. So it might not be such an apt saying for child raising in the 21st century, but I do think it has a fantastic application when it comes to leadership. So recently I was with a CEO of a very big organization, and she was being asked what leadership skills she used most in her very, very big job. And she said, much to everybody's surprise, listening. I spend a lot of my time listening. That was the number one leadership skill that she practiced. And of course, as a CEO of a big organization these days, it's unlikely that you can know every little detail about every line of business. And you need to be able to listen, to digest information and opinions to help you make informed decisions. But I think it goes beyond being a CEO and is relevant to all leaders. Listening as a leader is a core skill that I think we'd all do well if we honed it. So I'm a massive fan of Stephen Covey and his 7 habits of highly effective people. And his 5th habit, I think it's his 5th, is this: seek first to understand, then to be understood. So, how do you do that? Well, you have to ask open-ended questions and listen. So there's a key distinction in listening. You can either listen to respond, which means you're just waiting for the other person to stop talking so that you can say your bit, or worse, talk over them and interrupt them. Or you can listen to understand, listen without interruption of the other person, and only ask sort of supplementary questions that deepen your understanding of what they're saying. And if you want to be an empathetic, inclusive leader and really understand a multi-generational workforce that may have very different views and different perspectives to you, you need to be able to listen without judgment. So listening to understand. Personally, I learned so much from Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And yes, they may learn from my worldly wisdom, but in many senses about how things work in the future, how they will work, I suspect I will probably learn more from them. So, listening is open. So my invitation this week is to remember 2 ears, 1 mouth, and try listening twice as much as you talk. Ask open-ended questions. So an open-ended question cannot be answered with a yes or a no. So normally it starts with something like, what do you, how, etc., or tell me more, expand on something. Listen to understand and ask those supplementary questions, and see how far can you get in a conversation without giving your own opinion. Have an experiment. So listen not only to the words, but to the tone the person's using, the body language, and use your intuition about what is not being said and what else is in the ether. And finally, remember the other old saying, and don't be the empty vessel making the most sound. Okay, that's it for this week. Happy listening.